Tobe. Oh my gosh. Tobe Johnson, you guys. I'm not Tobe. I
I
also don't
know.
want to change my name.
I
So
am back here somewhere in the Max Headroom world of Simeon Hine avatars. So, what can a boy do when the cameras don't seem to want to cooperate? I'm in some kind of Max Headroom universe. I probably dated myself with that reference, but go look it up and you will see that it's a very cool 80s icon. Hello, Jill.
hello. And the irony of all this is the fact that both of us logged in 40 minutes early
Right.
or so. And then it was like literally in the last 5 minutes, all of a sudden Tobe's like, I'm out of sync. What's going on? And then we were going through all the motions, and this is what we landed on.
Well, there has to be some way I can do like Conan O'Brien style and put my lips on Simeon's mouth so we can have some kind of like back and forth here. But we'll work on that. I have so much power here. You can't see what I'm doing. I could totally just pick my nose and you'd have no idea.
That's when your camera and the sync, that's when it would all come together. You guys, if everyone could just kind of bear with me here, I'm going to try to fix my name.
Oh, look at that. There's two of me. I'll be darned.
I don't know what's going on, everyone.
Here, I can do it for you. You go ahead and talk and I'll do the background stuff.
Even better. Well, it has been, let me close this out. A lot of weird stuff going on in the background. It has been an action-packed week. I mean, has it even been? I mean, Thursday, yeah, it's been a full week, I guess. Brett, Mike, and I have been filming full days the last 48 hours. And we're just trying to catch up and catch our breath before we hit the road next week for some more filming adventures. And then we come home, repack, rinse and repeat. We're on the road again. So
that's crazy. You guys are just all over the place.
We are. We're like the wind.
You're everywhere all at once.
Yes. Which is fitting, I think, especially with your very quantum-y Simeon Hine paranormal poster.
I don't know the provenance of this here, but it's a brilliant piece of art. I think it was a friend of Simeon's that did this, to be honest. So I'm a big fan of this AI challenge here of Dr. Simeon Hine, who is being vindicated day by day with these ever-loving plasmoid updates. That's all you ever hear. They don't call him by his key reference of relic neutrinos, but how far away are we from plasmoids to relic neutrinos? I think they're in the same city block.
Well, are people, I'm going to be honest, there's a lot that's been going on in the news. Are people still talking about the drones, or has the thrill worn off?
Well, when things fade, it's a psyop. So things have kind of faded in that direction. But yeah, there's still stuff going on all over the world, Jill. All over.
Do you have anything to report from your little corner of the Pacific Northwest?
Gosh, what's the latest and greatest going on in the PNW? I haven't heard anything specific out here in Squim Agnew area where I call home, but certainly just to the west of us has been some aerial phenomena off of the Port Angeles Coast Guard out in the Straits of Juan de Fuca. There's been some reports, but nothing specific seen in the sky.
Oh.
Yeah. So I would definitely keep my eyes on that. I've got my psionics at the ready.
Okay. And nothing on the ground, nothing in the forest we need to be made aware of? Any groundbreaking reports that are coming out?
Well, so I did take a report today. I went on a hike up the upper Elwha and ran into a couple ladies that were doing what's called the loop. That's a 3.5 mile exercise where you park your car on one end and you go to the other end and hop in your pickup and head back to your car. And they were telling me Bigfoot stories. I mentioned the documentary and what we were doing out there. And one of the gals had a story. You want to hear it?
I'm not just me, but I'm sure everyone else listening and participating would love to hear it.
Well, let's go for it. So, the quick and short was that her husband was an experiencer, and her husband wandered off into an area, I believe he was logging, and he saw what he said was an ape bear. And I said, an ape bear? And she goes, well, I mean, a Bigfoot, but he thought it was an ape bear, which reminded me so much of the territory we're going here in the Columbia River. And so this thing stood up. It went from a bear to an ape. It looked at the guy across the river, and then it looked down on the shore, and it grabbed a giant log and held it over its head. And then it broke it in two as to, kind of display, don't come any closer. Here's what's going on as far as strength and capability. Best move on. So that was really interesting. Of course, I looked over at her friend, who I could tell was a little bit skeptical about this, and so it's always interesting to watch the personal dynamic between two people when they tell a Bigfoot story. But
what if the Bigfoot was breaking the log in half as a gesture of goodwill to offer it?
Like a fortune cookie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought of it like that. Yeah,
I'm always looking for the positive.
Well, yeah, I mean, but there is such humanity to them that if a person did that to another person, it would be, a show of strength. So I don't know. It's hard for me not to go there, but I understand we can definitely look at other avenues along the way.
And how recent was that? When did that happen?
So this was years back. That's the best I could get out of her. Had I seen her alone and had I not had Cooper, I probably would have had the wherewithal to focus in on the story. But when I've got a wild-eyed little polka dot running between my legs, and then I've got this distracted woman, sometimes you can just get the story and get out of there. Although this would be the third or fourth story from that area. Now, I did speak to another guy online, and he said not so much Bigfoot up in that area, but he actually ran into what he called feral people that looked as though they had resources. And I said, well, what do you mean? And he said, they didn't look like users or homeless. They didn't look like they were even that disheveled. They looked like they lived out in the woods, kind of like the Walton style. And I said, really? I said, that's fascinating. He goes, well, the Waltons meets the hills have eyes.
Okay.
And
I was like, was that? I don't remember that version of
right.
Walton.
So I said, will you take me? So I don't know. We will see what happens. This is a place where you have to have an e-bike, Jill. I mean, you could really walk it if you wanted to, but it's an old decommissioned road that just goes for miles up into the wilderness, and you walk the old highway, or you ride your e-bike up the old highway or huff it. And so if someone's living in that territory there, I would imagine that's where the Bigfoot stories are going to happen. Can you imagine what those people see?
Well, and did you not tell us that there were some concerns during Olympic Strange Days that there were some people in the woods or something in the woods?
Yeah. So there, there's rumors about people living in the woods, any woods you go to, I suppose. But yeah, we actually I ran into a sheriff that told me straight up, just like, yeah, there's somebody or a group that live up that way, and we can't access them or find them. And so, it gets very snowy up in the Olympic Peninsula, even at the lower elevations by the water. And I can't imagine what it would take to live up there all winter long, like a Jeremiah Johnson kind of sitch.
Yeah, that does not sound. I mean, even I was just going to say maybe in California, and then I was going to reference Sierra Camp, but that's the elevation too. That sounds terrible. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to do some future exploring and investigations.
Some digging. Yeah, definitely some digging on that. So, well, you released a mighty good video in the last 24 to 48 hours. I would like to talk to you about it, unless you have some business that you'd like to run through.
I have, you saw my awesome sketches I was doing, but
were those your sketches?
Yeah, I do that.
Oh, wait, wait a second. So wait, we have to, don't we have to, folks? We have to.
So, you guys, I asked Tobe. So in true, I always have. I'm a writer. My background's in screenwriting, and you can ask Brett. There are days I have 3x5 cards laid out throughout 2 rooms or all over the walls, just like with story notes and
I love it.
plot points and all this. And so I always have them with me. And I was thinking about how disappointed someone would be if I volunteered to draw their cryptid encounter or UFO encounter or alien. Because I was thinking, it's like if someone was saying, like, yeah, I had a conical head and it seemed, just benevolent and, interacting with other animals and stuff and friendly. I'm such a jerk. So this is how you guys, how upset would you be if like someone, if that's like what you got? And it's just like, it was like,
It's pretty darn cute, though. I mean,
well, the bunny, and what I was trying to convey was in the forest, the sense of, Sasquatch being the caretaker and
yes,
offering a balloon. I mean,
I can
I won't
appreciate. I
show the
mean,
one of him eating an ice cream cone. So that's just
no. Now I have seen this before. Um, done in the same kind of cartoony Hanna-Barbera way, but they thought it was really on point for what the witnesses were describing. Can you imagine if you didn't get the joke and you thought, oh, here I am a courtroom sketch artist. Here is your, I mean, usually cartoon characters have 4 fingers, right? So here's your 4-fingered recreation of what you saw.
there's an SNL sketch in there somewhere.
Oh, there has to be.
Yeah, I
There
think
has
Family Guy did something in line with this, but I digress.
yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about our latest interview, which was so fun. And I sent a link to Brett to join us because Brett's kind of, there's some weird serendipity. Well, there's no such thing as coincidence. It was all meant to be. I sent Brett a link to join us because I wanted him to chime in and talk about how he met James and how this has all come to be. So I'm just going to see if he's going to log on. I know there's a delay, so I'll just keep talking. But
Okay.
yeah, and we just filmed that not too long ago. It was Brett, Mike, and I
Mhm.
headed up north, and we took a detour.
Well, let's tell them who we put up there and what we're talking about. We're talking about how do you say James' last name? Szubski?
Szubski.
Szubski.
Yes.
Yes, James Szubski, and he has got a terrific shop. Well, I guess it's kind of a historic shop, really, if you look into the lineage that was passed down to him. Called is it Margie's Outdoor Post?
It's Margie's Outdoors, and
Yeah,
whether it's store or post, I'm a little fuzzy on. I just call it Margie's. In
Margie's.
Bingen, Washington, located in the Columbia Gorge.
Tell him Marge sent you.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Okay. So it's if you go the Oregon way to Hood River and you
Yep.
pay the little 75-cent toll, you're like 5 minutes from Bingen. It's on the other side of that Hood River Bridge by the Red Lion, and then you cross on over to the right, and there you are, right at the outdoor post, which is not just like an outrigger post for hiking up and down the Columbia River Gorge on their terrific mountaintops and river and waterways, but it's also a paranormal reporting center. Is that right, Jill?
Yes, Paranormal Reporting Center. It's also kind of like it's like a ground zero of where you meet, where you start. If you're going to the gorge and you're looking to pursue the paranormal, start at Margie's, because not only do they have just practical stuff you need if you're going to be out hiking or camping, outdoor stuff, but they also have, they've got maps, they've got, like we show in the video, like a whole little like cubby of information and reports that you can kind of make a note of so you can go out into the field aware.
And it is outdoor store, so now we know.
Okay. Well,
Okay, now it says Brett is here, so we're gonna turn it on. Oh, there's a nice little beep sound. Everybody, techno. Don't know what's going on, Brett. We hear nothing but a beep, so I'm gonna pull you off till you fix
yeah,
it.
go away.
The
Be gone.
gremlins are out tonight.
Gosh, we were having, yeah, what is up with the tech? So yeah, and so I'll hold off and let Brett tell the whole backstory. But we've made Margie's a pit stop whenever we're passing through, and I highly encourage everyone else to go there too. Just so much great information, and I think a lot of people are surprised to learn. I'll just say it. The Columbia Gorge kind of has that whole Al Moon Lab type, Skinwalker Ranch type vibe going on. And it's not just Bigfoot. It's not just aerial events taking place. Because you got to remember, Mount Adams, East Eddy is not far away. But people are reporting little humanoids like reptilians, other strange anomalies, and then, of course, the Klickitat ape cat.
Okay, and now before we get into that, I see that Uncle Brett is on the line here. Oh, but there's still a techno beep.
And we can't hear you.
No audio. I tell you what, Brett, there's some gremlins going on today because I had about 3 different ways I couldn't get into the shop, into the candy shop here. So that's why I'm playing Simeon Hine right now. Maybe if you log on and log off, I'm not quite sure. See if that works.
He could
So
always pull up a seat here and we could just hunker down.
that would probably be good if he could.
Yeah. Brett,
Consider that one.
exit through the gift shop. Come on in. What was so the irony is we can run all these fancy, expensive cameras.
1, 2, 3, testing.
Oh, there we
1,
go.
2, 3.
Now we're
I was
good.
just playing you guys. I didn't really have any technical problems. I just wanted drama. Look, see?
Oh, now my camera's still stalling, so
okay.
I'll just sit here and listen patiently while you talk.
And I just want, Tobe, can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Just be a little high maintenance. Can you fix the spelling of my last name?
Oh, cider.
No,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Okay, go ahead, Britt.
You can be Jill Remen
Brett.
Cider tonight.
Cider. Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. What? Okay. Sorry. So I guess maybe I missed the conversation about me coming on tonight. I was having fun in the chat with all my friends.
Okay, well, you can return to the chat in a moment, but I thought it was just appropriate that you tell the story about how you went into Margie's and how we met James.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, look, it's like we talked about. It's like you guys talked about last week with the Cottage Grove connection in the middle of nowhere in Fouke. And, there is a synchronicity at play. There is no question about it. And it's almost kind of getting to the point where we expect it. It's just very odd. So basically what was going on was I was in the Columbia Gorge. I was down in a little town called Umatilla, and I was working on a separate job, a drone job, actually, of some shipping that was occurring on the Columbia River. And I actually wanted to get some shots of some famous petroglyphs that are in an area called Horse Thief Lake. And if you guys are ever out there, they're really cool. Check them out. One of the petroglyphs is of kind of a gremlin-y face in some water. And it might have some cryptid origins because some of the consensus is with the natives that the natives wouldn't have carved in just a seal or something ordinary, that they actually would have taken time to do something extraordinary. And so if you Google Columbia Gorge petroglyphs, you might run into this monstery thing in the water. So anyways, I wanted to get a shot of it. And as it turned out, the park was closed. So I was bummed. So I thought, I'll just cut back over at the Dalles and be on my way home. But then I found out the bridge was closed. So everything was closed, but Margie's. So I continued down the gorge, and I'm going through this little town called Bingen, and I see Margie's on the left-hand side. I'd never heard of it before, had no idea. And I see this big sign that says, "Report your paranormal sightings here." So I slammed on the brakes, fishtailed. All this blue smoke came up. I'm embellishing a little bit, but again, we're storytellers and filmmakers. So imagine that in your heads, if you will. It's much cooler. And I popped out of the General Lee, and I ran in. That part didn't happen either. I went into Margie's, and instantly I was like, where am I? I'm in some sort of like fantasy paranormal heaven. And I walked up to the guy behind the counter, and I was like, okay, who, what, where, how, why, when, who owns this place? And he's like, oh, that would be James. And so I went over and I introduced myself to James. And it was one of those things where I kind of fumbled my words because I was just in the middle of such awe and wonder and coolness. I'm like, how did I not know about this? And so James, I think I hung out there for at least half hour, 45 minutes. And we just hit it off instantly. He's such a likable guy. If you haven't watched the video already, check it out because you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And we just knew that there was a partnership there, because being a native Oregonian, and I know you, Jill, and Tobe could attest to this. The Gorge is truly a magical place. It really, really is. There's nothing else like it on the planet Earth. And James has confirmed that tenfold. He was nice enough to take us around to some of these secret, strange magnetic spots. And so, yeah, I mean, all I can say is book your trip now. Get out there, come meet James, come to Margie's, stock up on snacks and drinks and outdoor stuff. And I'm putting together a sales pitch because you guys won't be disappointed. Just don't come in the wintertime.
I wanted to get into these magnetic anomalies real quick with you, Brett and Jill, because it is so important, I think, to the story here, what's going on. So what you see here is a magnetic fluctuation based upon, I think, the predominant areas where action happens. So if you go over here to Hood River, you can see Hood River is in a giant flux point. I believe pink means it's super hot. Green and blue mean that it's very weak, if I remember correctly. So what we're looking for here and what we're looking at is Bingen, Washington is just to the right of the black line of Hood River down in the lower right. It's kind of not visible that well. But within that flux zone, right, like the green, the yellow, the pink, see how it has those gradual fast fluctuations like where all the rainbows meet? We think that those are the exceptional areas to look for the strange and unusual, not so much in the gravitational point like the hot pink or the deep blue, but wherever you have these rainbow striations here. So like the side of the rainbow trout is where you're going to find the big fish. And so Bingen is smack dab right inside that big fish. But so is Mount Adams. If you go way up to the upper left-hand corner there, big lava bed is up at the upper top. You'll see that these flow points are happening as well. So I think if we maybe go off of those things, then maybe we have ourselves an actual way to.
And he's gone just like that.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that. Let me turn off my camera because it's lagging. So do you understand what that map represents?
Yeah, I just wanted the weather guy treatment. I wanted you to walk in there and point to the forecast. That's the only thing I missed, Tobe.
Yes. Yeah. So anybody can look up that map. I'm just using it as a waypoint to say, hey, this is kind of making sense, right? If you look at this USGS map, magnetic maps, you can maybe find out where you don't have to go to place names anymore. I think this map actually should flow. It should be a live map where you can study this. I'm sure that the government has that map, but this is what we have for now is just this photo.
It'd be interesting is to plan an investigation or some sort of weekend outing based on that map and like the current, activity and whatnot.
I love it. I mean, that's definitely totally doable. All you have to do is go to the link, and we have a couple people here in the chat with us right now that are probably thinking of doing that, including myself.
Oh, let me pull up the chat. Who we got here?
But I also wanted to bring up this. There's a lot of mythos and stories about First Nations people and the oral tradition of this massive land bridge, right? Like the Bridge of the Gods
Yeah.
is something that was said to be almost a rumor that didn't exist. Yet they painted this beautiful mural here. And I believe if you go on AI or Google, that you can find that there's satellite imagery of what was a giant land bridge that connected Washington State to Oregon State that is wrapped around the backside of the Columbia River Gorge against one of the dams, kind of proving the point that, yes, there was this giant, catastrophe that happened that broke this land bridge around. So when we hear these stories from First Nations people, they come from places, and oftentimes I think they're finding out that their history is astoundingly true.
Yes. In fact, as a matter of fact, I went on a sternwheeler cruise as a kid with my grandpa, and they give a little tour of the gorge. I highly recommend it. They still do it. You pick it up in Cascade Locks, which is where the Bridge of the Gods is located. And if you guys have ever seen, if any of you out there have ever seen the movie
Wild.
Thank you, Jill. If you've ever seen Wild, it ends, spoiler alert, at the Bridge of the Gods in Cascade Locks, the actual Bridge of the Gods. But we went on the sternwheel cruise, and there's this dude, you stand on the deck of the sternwheeler and you look around and it's beautiful and there's wind in your hair. And he kind of does this narration. He talks about, the landmarks that you're seeing as you go down the gorge. And they talk about how there was at one point a land bridge indeed in that spot, but supposedly it's been gone for a couple of thousand years. I don't know if they've done sonar or something mapping of the riverbed and they've discovered, the remnants of it or what the situation is. Or like you said, Tobe, maybe there's some clues, some geology that shows that bridge used to be there. That's near the dam, Bonneville Dam and whatnot. But the gods, by the way, would be Wyeast and Luit, and I can't remember the third one now. But Wyeast is the native name for Mount Hood, and Luit, Loowit, is the native name for Mount St. Helens. And Mount Adams was in there too. And they, these being volcanoes, they would go off and steam and argue and stuff like that. And so those are the gods that they're referring to.
I just want to say, I'm just looking at the chat. Sounds like I'm recommending, I'm putting it on Jeff Rohn to organize the adventure. It sounds like he knows someone with some land out there. So it's on you, Jeff.
Isn't it always on Jeff though? No.
Yeah. Let's get into a little bit of what was talked about here as far as the reporting center and what James brings up. He brings up quite a bit regarding this Klickitat ape cat phenomenon, which isn't really our wheelhouse. But when you say ape, obviously we were talking about an ape bear. Are people seeing a Sasquatch sometimes instead of a cat, or is this an actual hybrid situation? What's the reality on this, guys? Are people seeing a hybridization?
I don't know, but I have a coaster that's Klickitat ape cat, Tobe.
Oh, push it a little closer to the cam.
You see that?
Nice.
What's the deal? The Klickitat
ape cat coaster.
The reports are that it's 5 feet at the shoulder.
Yeah, 4.5 to 5 feet at the shoulder. Yeah. And I put a graphic in the video, in James's video, showing the American lion. Although I don't know that there were reports of black American lions, but nobody was really around, save for the natives at the time, to leave any sort of oral history as to what color the American lion was. Obviously, we only have a fossil record, but it was the size of a Volkswagen Bug. I mean, this is a big animal. I think James said that it was the largest lion to ever walk the earth. So, that's, I think what James is describing, what people are seeing is probably closer to about a tiger, which I think are the largest cats now.
I mean, what was so interesting about meeting James is talking about my familiarity with Trout Lake and ECETI Ranch, which it has to be mentioned for the fact that if you go to ECETI Ranch, they worship the Lyra star system, or Lyra star system near Vega, and they worship a hybridization of humanoid cat people, which I think is fascinating because James did not know that when we showed up there. And so for those two worlds to come together, for the fact that there's this human type quality of a lion or a cat or a tiger, I think is really interesting, just for the fact that this may really be real.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've talked to other people. I believe Ashley Stinnett was telling us that she knows some folks who have seen the cat out near Mosier, which is across the river. So, they're not, I mean, people are seeing these things or this thing, again, like when I was a little kid, I thought it was one Bigfoot. I think we all probably
Right.
thought that. And so we don't know if it's one ape cat or if it's a bunch of ape cats or if it's even an ape or if it's even a cat or who knows? Who knows? But
Yeah.
there's something going on.
Well, what really was fascinating to me is when James did, and I'll be honest, I can't remember whether or not he did this in the video. Art and reality are blurring, but when he did the deep dive talking about Hanford and the experiments they were doing with apex predators, that's what really kind of, he talked about what was it, crocodiles that got loose or something, and they're only able to.
Yeah, Nile crocodiles, right?
Yeah.
I mean, those sound even scarier.
Well, yeah, and they had jaguars because jaguars can hold their breath for a long time.
Oh,
It's an actual cat that likes water, you guys. And I
God.
think they go for the neck of their prey. So, if the bad guys want to get into Hanford for whatever reason, nuclear waste, I guess, the jaguar would find them and grab them by the neck and drown them and throw them around.
When you were talking about the petroglyphs, though, at Horse Thief Butte, did you say that there were petroglyphs of the Klickitat ape cat?
Well, there's something, if you Google, I wonder if we can put an image up.
Yeah, Brett, if you can find it, because I know you have photos of it.
Yeah, we've got footage of it that will be included in Flash 3.
Okay.
We eventually did make it back. Mike and Jill and I made it back to Horse Thief Lake to get footage of these petroglyphs. Incidentally, that's not where those petroglyphs were created. Those petroglyphs were created alongside the Columbia River, and they were moved when the Columbia River was flooded from the dams, which is unfortunate, for a lot of reasons.
Well,
maybe we can find it.
Yeah, while you look for it there, they back at East Ranch, like I said, they do worship a similar type of thing. This is less than 30 minutes away. Here's one of the paintings that they have inside the East lobby near their meditation room. They even do some kind of scrying with their camera and try to contact these beings here. This is well, you be the judge here. This is a photo of a Syrian feline being appearing at East Ranch. Now, I don't know the provenance of this picture here. Perhaps this is some kind of little furry white kitty cat human thing. Maybe it's just a blurry image from Scamp's pet store. I don't know what we're looking at, but it's kind of cute.
So I've got a kitty to share with you guys. Well, at least I think is a kitty. Let me see here. How do I do that? How do I share things, Tobe?
So unfortunately, Brett, what you have to do is you have to go over and you have to add scene, and then you have to drag and drop it in the middle of the screen when you add a picture. There's no way to do it on the side without people noticing, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Add scene.
You know what? Maybe we can. I'll tell you what, Brett. After this chat, we can post that in the community section on the YouTube channel.
Oh, we should talk about it now, because
we can talk about it. But if we can't get the photo up, we can.
Can I send it to you, Tobe, through the?
Well, no. The other thing you can do is you can share your screen if you want to do it that way.
What if I send you a link to where the photo is?
Well, you have the same power I do.
I do. I just can't figure out where that button is to share.
Okay.
Oh, you mean share screen? I could share my screen.
You can do that.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go. Sorry, I'm being insistent because this is just too weird, you guys. This is just too weird of the thing that I'm looking at here. Okay. Me and my technical hiccups. Let's see
Well,
here. Share, screen share. Okay. Here we go. Share. Okay. Can you see that?
Brett shared a show on screen. There you go. Yes.
You see that?
Yes.
Petroglyphs at Columbia Hills.
Yes.
Does that not look like a cat?
Yeah, no, I see it, and it's a creepy looking cat.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Looks like a cat, and it looks like, the squiggles are interpreted as water, of course. And the orientation of that is horizontal. And I don't know if at one point it was vertical
Uh-huh.
or what the situation is there.
And
But
there's something above it too that kind of looks like another one developing, something
yeah,
with upright
yeah,
ears on it.
exactly. So that's why I don't know if that helps or not, but
That's fascinating.
yeah, it's very fascinating. It's very cat-like, and it looks very angry too. So there it is. And there's a couple of very interesting petroglyphs, so you guys can do some research on those.
So this is not at Horse Thief Butte?
It is. I don't know why it says
Okay.
Columbia. Columbia Hills is the region, but
Okay.
it's at Horse Thief Lake,
Horse Thief Lake, copy.
I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, Horse Thief Lake Campground. It's interestingly enough, the Columbia River has these wider spots in it that are called lakes. There's Umatilla
Oh,
Lake.
really? Okay, I didn't know
Thief
that.
Lake. Yeah, because they're technically speaking, I guess they are lakes because of the way they bulge.
Okay.
So yeah, it's confusing, but it's just the way it is. There's nothing we can do about it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Let me get this out of here.
Okay, we're
You know,
back.
one of the other things too that they talk about at the store is stuff that is seen up and down the Columbia River Gorge that shouldn't necessarily be there on the highway. And I know that one of the first people that we talked to after we met James was one of the store employees that saw what I believe he described as kind of like this thing standing like a small tripod. In fact, I think the story goes that he actually thought it was like a piece of camera equipment off to the side of the road. Only as he got closer and closer to this thing, it had a praying mantis head.
Yeah.
And so what he in turn was kind of describing was, if you can imagine what a praying mantis kind of looks like in nature, only this is like 3 feet tall or something. It has those long arms with those very long, weird, kind of jagged knife shoulders and elbows, right, coming down. There you go, Jill. Please,
Ooh.
maybe you should
Your
draw.
fuel, Jill. Don't do that. You're sleeping on the couch tonight.
But this was the interesting thing, is that employee, when I talked to him, he had no idea that the mantid phenomena was related to this whole gray alien reptoid orb phenomena, UFO phenomena. And you guys have heard the stories as well, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I just got to say one thing, Tobe. Why couldn't they have been ladybugs instead of mantis? But
well, they're kind of the brains of the operation, like
yeah.
I just spoke to a witness not too long ago that said that he saw what he described as the Hat Man. And the Hat Man was basically an avatar. And out of the Hat Man, he saw that it was a praying mantis of some kind.
Whoa.
And it was utilizing the Hat Man as an avatar to kind of hide its true self. So I wonder how often, we're actually seeing the real nature of these things here. Is the mantid a real thing? What's behind the mantid?
Yeah. Another quick story about the Columbia River Gorge that we were told early on, and I'm trying to remember who told us this story. I want to say it was Henry. There was a story about a juvenile Sasquatch that was making its way down Interstate 84. This is back in like the late 60s, early 70s. There was a guy who was a child at the time, and he was in the backseat of his parents' car. And all of a sudden, all the traffic slammed on its brakes. It was nighttime. It was pouring down rain. It was stormy. And cars are swerving and stuff. And he remembered looking out the front windshield of the car and seeing this tall, hairy thing weaving in and out of cars, and cars slowing down and trying to avoid hitting it, and it looked lost and confused. And he flipped around. He was in the back seat and watched this thing kind of, just miss cars and then dart off into the forest. And this is a pretty well-known story. There might be some folks in the chat that know the story a little bit better, but yeah, kind of an interesting mass sighting.
And Brett, if I recall, we were sharing that story. I want to say it was with Todd Neese, and Todd was aware of someone connected to that. And the gentleman was obviously a lot older and was in very poor health in Washington.
Mm.
We were hoping to interview him, and unfortunately, I don't think that I believe he had some sort of terminal illness or something.
I mean, James mentions he's next door to Skamania County, and we all know Skamania County. It was recently in the news. It's a very interesting county. I've never gone squatching above Skamania County. I mean, it sounds like, between there and Trout Lake, there's a lot of action, and between Mount Adams and the Columbia River Gorge. I've never been up to the Horse Thief Butte area. It just sounds otherworldly. And James has this way of kind of presenting, given, his old job that he has, this magical world that actually exists, right? And this is what he's doing, is he's trying to let people know that they can actually have these experiences and follow up on these reports.
Well, and James did take us to some of these hotspots, like I said earlier, and he describes in the video some of the magnetic anomalies like you just showed in your map. Mm-hmm. And there's an area of the gorge that I was unaware of. I thought I knew the gorge pretty well, but there's a lava flow in the gorge. You can actually find it looking on Google Earth, and it's kind of it's in the Washington State side, and it's west, I believe, it's kind of north and west of Hood River or Bingen. Hood River's on the south side in Oregon. Mm-hmm. And he took us up there, and there's these it's really, really rugged for the area. And these volcanoes, Mount Hood, Mount St. Helens, and Mount Adams, are more of the ash volcanoes. There's not a lot of lava flow that happens with these particular volcanoes like they do down in the Central Cascades.
Right.
And so it's rare to find lava around there, but there's these interesting lava fields that are really old, and you get in there, and James told us a story about how he was in there and he had a little bit of missing time. He was doing some drone flying and whatnot. He got completely turned around, and it's very disorienting. We actually took our niece and nephew and her husband out there.
They were newlyweds, and this was like his crash course into what the in-laws were like. So
I think, they were newlyweds by like 3 months, and I think he was a little tripped out. But super interesting area. And then, of course, we've been up to Mount Adams quite a bit, but Mount Adams is on the northern part of all this craziness. But it's all kind of like within like this 300 or 400 square mile area,
I mean, if you don't go to the Sierra Nevadas, if you don't go to the Olympic Peninsula, go to the Columbia River Gorge. It's so vast, and you've got 2 states to choose from. It's one of the most beautiful summer drives you're ever going to take. I don't know, maybe fall's even better, but summer's pretty darn good on the Columbia River Gorge. You won't regret it, even if you don't see anything. You're never going to forget Multnomah Falls. You're never going to forget the Bridge of the Gods. You're not going to forget how big that water is and the mysteries there. And I think they're even doing Bigfoot tours out of somewhere up there, up and down the Columbia River Gorge. That is a thing, I believe, right?
Yeah, they use Cliff from the North American Bigfoot Center, the museum, Cliff Barrett.
Cliff Brockman, perhaps, Jill?
Yes.
Finding Bigfoot.
Cliff.
That Cliff.
That Cliff.
Because there's a lot of cliffs in the gorge, Jill. Let's not get them confused.
Oh, that's so
That's a geology joke, and I appreciate it. Yes.
Rocked. Sorry.
Cliff from Finding Bigfoot, he narrates the cruise, the Bigfoot.
Yeah. Oh,
cruise.
gotcha.
So,
yeah. So
that's right. On the stern wheeler.
I'll tell you what. I say we rent a Zodiac or like some this is such an awful idea, but I'm gonna run with it. We get a boat and like a PA system, and we could just narrate to everyone
Off the side of the boat. I'll be out there in my
people who want
yeah.
nothing to do with this. We can start, pointing out.
I'll be out there with a bullhorn and some water wings.
There you go.
Avoiding those Nile crocs.
There you
Hey,
go.
there's a James invested a lot of resources into this new business. Everybody make sure that you go check it out online. He's done a lot of podcasts. It's Margie's Outdoor Store. You can find it online. Paranormal Reporting Center in Benjamin, Washington. James Szubski, spelled like it sounds, Szubski. Check him out. But there's another girl in town with the name that rhymes with Priscilla, and she is going to be brought in here. Priscilla Roseman, there you are. Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Now, Priscilla is doing something similar, but in a whole different neck of the woods and a very strange area as well. In fact, there's quite a few people, quite a few Bigfooters that go up and down Highway 58. And now we're going to go by her beautiful store, Area 58 Museum and Store and Reporting Center. Tell us all about it, Priscilla.
Okay, so I just opened up this week, but I have 11 interviews scheduled of either Bigfoot or UFO or Hat Man. So I have lots of interviews that I'm going to be doing very soon. And we're a reporting center, so I want everybody's reports. If they're in the area and want to come in and talk to me, I have a little kitchen back here, so I can, provide coffee and snacks while they tell me their stories. And so speaking of weird things with electronics and phones, so my son was here like about an hour ago, and his phone was in his bag, and it called me 3 times. And I'm like, what are you doing? Are you calling me? Where's your phone? And he didn't know where his phone was. And it was just weird. It was like, what the hell is happening? But his phone was calling my phone, and he was not calling me. So that was weird.
Get used to it, Priscilla. Now, in the background there, I see Peter Byrne's image. You have a little exhibit dedicated to Peter Byrne and his foundation. That's something people can come see, right?
Yes. So I have a bit of Peter Byrne's collection here. I have. Should I bring you over there?
You do whatever is in your heart.
All right.
Oh, we're walking.
Uh-oh. I like
Are
it.
you getting dizzy, or should I set it back down?
No, you're okay. Just hold it nice and steady and tell us all about it.
Okay, so I have a bunch of autographed books and plaster casts that Peter Byrne he found these prints. Sorry, I'm going to be still right here. I'm going to set you down. So I have these for sale here, and everything goes to the Peter Byrne Scholarship Foundation. But it's the plaster cast of a real Bigfoot print, which was found in Bluff Creek in the Sixth River National Forest in Northern California in 1960. So we have these for sale here. We have some stuff. This is his jacket that he got in Nepal. It was
Wow.
my dad, because my dad went to Nepal with Peter. They were pretty good friends. But I have some pretty cool stuff here. And we have the Dog Man. And these are representations of what was seen by Don Monroe. And he found this artifact here, too. It's the Naha Man. He gave that to me. And then we have this really awesome display here. And Tobe, I'll let you represent this a little better
Well,
being put on the spot
yeah.
because I'm kind of shy. Okay.
No, that's all good. I mean, as far as things on exhibit, those are the knee impressions from the Al Moon lab that Daryl Adams and I cast. It's kind of like Ark of the Covenant style there, just a plaster impression of unknown knees, 1,400 pounds. If you look in the background, you kind of get an idea of, the anatomy of a Sasquatch because you've got Patty all over the place. Priscilla, what's going to happen here, hun, is that people are going to look at your place as like a hangout spot to talk shop, right? Like, are you prepared for the influx during spring break and summer before your big event to hear stories?
Absolutely. Oh, I wanted to show you something else here too. Let me, so I have this is my little reporting center here. And this is
nice. Hey, look who's there.
Wow.
Sheriff's in town.
So these are all reports I got like 20 reports here.
Yeah.
Or maybe actually more than that, but of sightings in this area. And so anybody can come in and mark, tell their story and mark it down of where they had their encounter.
So Priscilla, all these new encounters that are coming to you, is that based upon your little thread that you put out less than 2 days ago?
Okay, so I've had individuals come in that I've never met before. I've had 4 people walk in that did not know me at all. They're like, "Oh, cool, you're here. I just wanted to come in and check it out." And this one guy, he was telling me he hasn't seen it himself, but he's a believer because his grandpa was very adamant about it. But he was telling me that what he wanted to do was bring in a piano, like have it flown in and just like feel the vibrations of the piano playing in the woods. And I mean, he was like super excited to have somebody to tell his story to. And he's like, "This is great," because I love what you're doing. And then I had a couple other people come in and tell me that they had seen something, and I had them sign my book or my registration book. I don't know. I'm just having fun with this whole thing.
Jill, you have a question?
Priscilla, so I have something that I want to, when I see you next, I have something I want to bring you. It's just off camera, but I'm afraid if I try to grab it, it's going to cause a chain reaction of disaster because of where it's placed. But when we first went, the first time that Daryl and Tobe took us to the Owl Moon Wilderness, where Daryl and Tobe did all their habituation and had all these incredible experiences, they talked about trees being like woven and like looped and just not natural. And there was a fresh one there of a tree that had been like bent over in a loop. And
I have something that Tobe gave me.
Oh, well, now that one is that Jill has one from Cottage Grove. That one there is from the Carbon River. So Jill, you have one that is a little bit smaller.
I have the one that you said, well, here, you should go ahead, go ahead and take it. And so I'm here with like a Swiss Army knife, or, cutting it off. And then as I'm holding it, that's when you tell me, so when you take this home, you might have some hitchhikers. You might be taking some energy home. And granted, weird stuff did happen on occasion. I don't know if it was attached to that tree loop, but I've held on to it, and I think it would look nice on the wall.
It would. I would love it.
So if people want to donate stuff to a museum, you ready to have the onslaught of weird stuff show up at your doorstep?
Absolutely. I love stuff.
Before we get into what you have coming up this summer, we should mention that you and the gang, we'll call them, we need like the Scooby-Doo gang, recently kind of had your socks blown off not too far from the shop. Obviously, we're not going to say where this area is, but very unique stuff going on just right outside your back door, correct?
Yeah, and I'm going to invite Steve to come over here and talk. We do good together.
Get over there, Steve. Oh, there he is.
Hello.
Okay. Squeeze in together there. I can't quite see you, Priscilla. There you go.
A little closer.
Someone go in the back, someone in the front. There you go.
Little closer.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So just give people a little bit of debriefing about what's going on in your area. You don't have to tell them everything.
You go ahead.
No, you.
You're
No,
the face of this
now I'm
operation.
on the spot and I get all nervous.
So we have a research area, and Tobe and Alicia, not Tobe, Jeff and Alicia have been coming here fairly often, and we've been going out and trying different things, including Christmas Eve, and we probably almost froze to death. But that's a whole other story.
But so before that, the week before that is when we got the vocalization out there.
Right.
And my phone, so I got my camera stick, and me and Alicia, we're going out into the woods. We're leaving the boys behind, and we're gonna just go do some calls and see what we can bring in, and then my phone it stops working, and I'm like, oh my god, my phone stopped. Alicia, can you start recording? And she's like, yeah, I'll get mine going, and then like 30 seconds later we start getting these.
What you thought was wood knocks.
Yeah, I was thinking it was wood knocks, and then after getting it analyzed, we got actual like vocalization that was in this video. And
Well, not just vocalization, what sounded like language to not only my ears, but David Ellis. So we're both hearing what sounds like percussive language that mimics wood knocks within the language, or at least exhibits the sound of wood knocks in the phrase, which is super wild sounding. But if you look into tongue clicking, something very similar may be going on with this wood knock sound within the language. So, I mean, you've just got, this is like only the beginning. Wait till the weather is nice and you guys can be out there for like long-term studying. So that's really exciting.
yeah,
We had lots of technology problems too, battery drain stuff going on. So when the weather gets good and we go out there, if we have that, we may be out there against our will for a while.
So tell everybody about what's coming up here in the few minutes that we have left with you.
Okay. So Sasquatch Summerfest 2025 is coming up.
let me see, I'm trying to
I like it.
catch
I
up on
like
the
it.
TV here too, so
Oh, that's
I'm looking
no way.
back and forth.
Don't look at that; it'll mess you up.
Read some of the names off that, Priscilla. Who's speaking?
Don Monroe, Dr. Simeon Hine, Richard Jameau, Christy Sanders, Jill and Brett, Jason Kenzie from Searching for Sasquatch, Dr. Robert J. Alley, Doug Meacham, and M.K. Davis. And of course, it'll be emceed by Tobe Johnson.
Oh, I'm going to drag you up there too. It's going to be the Tobe and Priscilla show. She's coming.
So I'm so glad you're doing it.
It'll be such a pretty shade of red.
And this is going to be at the same beautiful park as before?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay.
And
and when are the dates for that, Priscilla?
July 11th and 12th. It's a Friday and Saturday.
And people can get tickets where, and can they get them now?
Yes, SasquatchSummerfest.com.
Okay.
And it's $35 a day or $50 for 2 days. So it's a little bit cheaper than last year.
And you offered something for people, vendors, right?
Vendors. It's $50 for the entire weekend, and they can get into the event for free, and they can bring a +1.
I mean, that's an incredible deal. No one's ever offered that before. So vendors can not only get in for free, but they could have a +1 and camp on site.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a lovely, I mean, bring your fishing pole, bring your favorite girl, bring your favorite man. It's a good time. Sasquatch Summerfest, July. Thanks, guys, for coming on the air. And we'll talk. Yes, Priscilla.
Bigfoot Society podcast will be there. Jeremiah Byron. He'll also.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for doing this for us. I know you had to put it together real quick, but we appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, Steve. Bye, Priscilla.
Right.
So that's cool. They're good people. That's an exciting place to be, and it's the second one that they put together, and it's just going to grow from there. Any final words there, Snyder, Eichenberger?
Yes.
What? And
Mark your calendars. March 14th through the 16th, Friday through Sunday, Baker City, Oregon. The details they're coming out very soon. We were gonna do a Bigfoot weekend last fall. We had scheduling issues, and it was just too much for us to try to do. We spread ourselves too thin, and so we pushed the dates, and it's coming up quick, and it's going to be awesome. So not only it's going to be kind of like a Flash of Beauty hangout session with a couple other awesome faces. Let's see here. Tobe, you'll be with us. Of course, Brett and I will be there. We will also have Ashley Stinnett. We'll have Jeff Rohn. We will have Angelique Benham. And James Szubski from this past week's video, he will be joining us also. So there's just going to be a lot of fun stuff. And if you haven't been to Baker City, it is amazing. And there's a lot of activity out there too.
And tickets just went on sale for, you guessed it, Phenomicon. They announced the dates at least. So if the tickets aren't on sale tonight, I imagine in the next couple weeks they're going to be, if not the next couple days. Definitely check that out. Coming up about a week and a half from now, on the 24th and 25th of January, I think all three of us knuckleheads are going to be in Longview doing our best Squatch Fest that we can possibly do. You can come check us out there. The 25th in particular is going to be like super busy. So why not come out on the 24th and have a conversation with us about all things squatchiness?
Now, Tobe, we won't be there on the 24th. Sorry. We're going to be flying home from Kansas City, where we will be doing some interviews for Voices in the Wilderness. And next week we head down to Central California to do some more filming for Voices in the Wilderness. So we have some awesome stuff coming up, and we have a bunch of other cool stuff that we're not going to jinx by talking about it here. We're just going to have to wait and see.
Okay.
And then
I'll be there.
You're going to be there. We will be there on the 25th.
You're going to set up the booth, and I'm going to stroll in Saturday morning with my coffee.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
My coffee and a few lights. You know what? When we ordered these from Doug Morrison, I thought, we have so many, and I'll just use these at Squatch Fest. I think we only have like 3 or 4 left.
Wow.
They've been selling like hotcakes. So I will have some. We'll take some pre-orders. We have kind of what's left of our inventory of shirts and sweatshirt, because we're about to do a whole big overhaul and get all new gear. So.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Well, that sounds nice.
We are in limbo.
Hey, what else I want to say? I think that's pretty much it. Hey, thoughts and prayers to everybody in California. Craziness going down there. So anyway, thoughts and prayers.
This
about
one
that
hurts.
situation.
This one hurts us because we have so many friends. We have so many constituents. Yeah, and we used to live down there, being filmmakers, and so Los Angeles has a lot of very happy memories for us, and some of those places where we've made those memories with ourselves and friends and whatnot are no longer. And so this is a painful. It's just as painful as it was when we had Oregon wildfires here a few years ago.
Yeah,
these things go up in flames and see the heartache and stuff. It's tough. It's tough. So it's, the last couple of days we've been just watching the news, and I've been talking to friends. And
did you have friends that were affected by the fire?
I'm sorry?
You had friends that were affected by the fire?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's nobody in LA that hasn't been affected by the fire. And it's not just the fires. I mean, they had a massive windstorm too. But there's no point in talking about wind destruction when you've now lost close to 10,000 structures
Yeah.
An untold amount of lives. And it's the worst disaster in Los Angeles history. This is probably far worse than any sort of major earthquake, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but that remains to be seen. So, a lot of pride to see Oregon firefighters headed down there to do their part to help out, and they'll get through this, and they will persevere. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, guys. We will see you next week. I think that will be our show before our show. We got 2 more lives before Squatch Fest, I believe, here, if I'm looking at the calendar, the 16th and the 23rd. Will you guys be, well, we'll talk here. Will you be in town on the 23rd?
No, we'll be in Kansas City, and
Okay.
Mike will be with us. So I will, oh my gosh, I will pack the Lazy Susan.
Yes. Okay.
We'll
Yes.
pack the Lazy Susan. We'll put the laptop on and we'll spin it around.
Okay.
So Brett, Mike, and I can all talk.
It's a deal.
Yeah, we're going to be in California. Actually, we're actually headed down to Los Angeles next week if things improve.
To be determined.
We will be in Central California for sure. There's no fire.
Okay.
So our next live stream, we will be someplace in Central California, or actually, wait, next Thursday is the 16th, correct?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, we're supposed to be in Los Angeles on the 16th.
Oh, wow.
So, there could be a chance, you guys, that we may not have a live stream next week due to some travel restrictions.
Okay.
So we'll keep you posted, or you go at it solo, or you bring on a guest host.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, well, let's talk about that later.
So we'll mix it up. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Talk to you later.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for stopping by.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in. Later.